I wonder if you have any questions that have been shared with us. Otherwise, in case any of the participants would like to comment or discuss some of the points made by the other participants that they've heard, I give you the opportunity to take the floor now. Just raise your hand in case you would like to do so. But if I don't see, you have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. I think what we have seen here is the willingness, and we see the partnerships being done. I think what Mr. Bakke pointed to us is we can show these explosions, and it might frighten the community. So I think we need to also include the society to get this fear out of the business. I think, and this is only my opinion, that if we were to discuss today, would we allow huge amounts of gasoline in place in automotive passing through each other in 110 kilometers an hour? I think we would have struggles. So I agree with Mr. Bakke that we need to do this safe, and we will manage to do that. So don't frighten the community, say, oh, this is too scary. So that's one of my points. So in these partnerships, we need to include the society, I think, to see what is easy. Compared to gasoline, hydrogen is quite nice. It just explodes and it goes up. While methanol, for instance, burns with an invisible flame throughout. So it's different aspects. So the societal aspect needs to be taken in place. And I really agree with Mr. Carter saying that the value chain is important. And it's important to start because I hear in some discussions that we want to see the market, and players say we can produce hydrogen, but we want to see the market to take off. And then we see we want to see cheap hydrogen before we can start using it. So this is kind of different. So early movers include the entire value chain. I think is important for us to succeed in this just transition, and also to get the price down. So that was all my only comments to that. Thank you.
I thank Madame Amont for that contribution. Yes, I think Professor Bakke's videos did show a certain scary angle of developing a hydrogen. But I think it also drew attention to the fact that it is important to focus on safety while developing a hydrogen ecosystem. And that's a very valid point, which is why we do need these centers of excellence, so that it would be worse if somebody treats it, not as seriously as it deserves to be, the safety aspect, and thinks that they can just go ahead and start doing things with hydrogen, given the nature of the buoyant and flammable nature of the gas. So I see Professor Bakke, you on the floor. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I think that very soon now we have to start giving ourselves challenges. And as an example, and of course not exhaustive at all, but let me just share another slide. Can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, good. So these are, how do you say, actions, proposed actions. We need to start going into this level now very soon. How do we address the issues that we have? We know we need to teach people. We know we need more people. So we need to start introducing master's programs. Well, in all engineering institutes, I think. How many engineers do we need? I don't know. Is it 100,000 by the next 5 years? Should decision makers and board of directors learn about hydrogen safety? Should they be really aware? Should we make capsule courses for them? Should we be setting up COEs in each state in India? And so on. I'm not going through the list because it's not exhaustive, it's just some points. But I think that we need to go this direction. Thank you.
Yes, I would entirely agree. I think at the very minimum, courses in hydrogen safety for our engineers would be hugely important. We can't go down this path without having everyone at all levels associated with the hydrogen ecosystem that we foresee being completely from requisite safety aspects. I see Mr. Christian Valdez Carter would like the floor. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I think that Ms. Aamodt made a very valid point in emphasizing the importance of involving the community. I think that to be able to, let's say, have a license to operate, yes, it is important that hydrogen is safe. But I also think that it has another important side to it, and that is that it is able, that a new industry is able to create new jobs, replacing the jobs that we are kind of leaving, especially within fossils. So that I think that is also something that we need to emphasize, and it could be also something that could stimulate young people. I think that Dr. Bakke had a very good suggestion in establishing master programs, not only within hydrogen maybe, but within renewables, because hydrogen has, as we have seen today, many applications. It has a side, especially here in India, I would say, towards solar and also wind, and maybe in the future also offshore wind. So two very good, one valid point and one very good, a good suggestion. I also want to say that when we see how things have developed in Europe, and in particular in Norway, we see that ammonia is also kind of growing into a very exciting market. There are several pilot projects within the maritime industry that include the use of ammonia. And so I think that also kind of says that we need to have a kind of a holistic approach to this, because if we look back 5 years, 10 years, and we see what we know today, and we see kind of the pace that this development has achieved, and the momentum that it has now, I think that in 5 years and 10 years, there will be new applications and obviously new technologies and new innovations that will put us in a better position to scale this hydrogen ecosystem. So I don't know, Dr. Bakke, if you have any comments with respect to ammonia.
Not specifically, but of course, with regards to safety, ammonia, there is an issue there also. So that needs to be addressed in the same way. It is flammable, it's probably toxic, and yeah.
Well, I thank Mr. Carter for his comment, and Mr. Bakke for that clarification. Christian, you made an important point. We need a holistic approach, and it struck me that the organization whom I'm representing here today, TERI, also has a School of Advanced Studies where they do teach environmental and energy studies. So maybe there's a opportunity of cooperation there. I will certainly draw it to their attention. Yeah, I see. Is there a request for the floor, or those hands that remain to be put down?
Just a quick comment from my side, Excellency.
Please go ahead.
We're conducting a very interesting roundtable with TERI next week. So we are already cooperating and of course together with the business community. So look forward to that. And it is important in that respect to actually to commend the involvement from the research community in India, that not only has very interest in hydrogen, that kind of is a new industry, but it already has a lot of knowledge and has this international mindset. So we really appreciate the initiatives from players like TERI. So like I said, I think that we have a very good starting point here in India.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I had in mind that, TERI has also a School of Advanced Studies, like a university, and we should add this on in terms of safety, etc., hydrogen safety into the courses that they have for students. We don't need anyone's approval to do that. I'll certainly immediately draw it to the attention of the Vice Chancellor. And TERI itself, obviously, is a partner in all of this, so there's no issue on that. Is there any other requests for the floor? Well, I noted one thing in the discussion today. There was a kind of a passing reference by somebody to starting an international hydrogen alliance on the lines of the successful International Solar Alliance that India had inspired. So what is the feeling in this group? Is that worth exploring in parallel, or maybe a bit premature, or something that needs to be also thought of? Because I think all of this needs to go hand in hand, especially if you're planning to ratchet up, and I do believe that's important and correct, and do all of this much faster than anyone has done before. Does anyone have a comment on that? Or on any other issue that you would like to speak on?
It's a very, I think, Excellency, that's a good question. I think that a global hydrogen alliance is something that when assessing the need for it, we should ask ourselves, why not? What are the consequences of not doing it? I think that with the backdrop that we have with climate change, and that the situation in many ways is escalating around the world, I think we need to do what we can do. And if this is an initiative that has been launched, I think it's very worth exploring further. I think that also could in many ways establish a better common understanding on how we can develop a global hydrogen ecosystem, because that is important. Even though different countries, they have different infrastructure and they have, let's say, their own cultures and solutions, I think that in this respect, it is important that we establish this common understanding and that we all at least move in the right direction. So that could be a very interesting platform to explore further.
Thank you. I'm not sure whether anyone is exploring it at the moment or not, but yeah, I agree with you. I'm very happy that you responded positively to the suggestion. I do believe it would be useful, like India and France started off the International Solar Alliance. If India and Norway do something like this, it would help in projecting and moving things faster. And when we're talking of export, for example, our Prime Minister has spoken of that in terms of meeting our own requirements, energy requirements, and export. I think there's huge scope for doing things up there. And I'm sure somebody will pick it up, but I'll find ways of also passing it on to the Indian Ministry of External Affairs for their consideration. Ellie,
Actually,
would you like to make a comment? Please go ahead.
Yes, I haven't given it a thought until you just threw it out. And I think that might be a very good idea, because one of my concerns is this need for speed. And I can see one critical barrier if we're going to turn into this hydrogen economy. This is if we end up with different regulations in different parts of the world, this will be one very unfortunate barrier. So just only by trying to harmonize from the very beginning, the regulation might be an interesting topic for such a international alliance. That would be non-competitive. It would be not be trying to. It would be level playing field for all the commercial activities. So I thought initially, yeah, seems like a good idea. That's what. Just I compliment you on that idea.
Thank you. I think and you've put your finger on two important points, which I entirely agree with. This should be non-competitive. India traditionally tries to help out others. I mean, we take great pride in doing that. I've spent many, many years promoting that point, that when we try and do something, we do hope countries understand that we're doing it with their goodwill in mind also. So not only non-competitive, but as you said, giving a level playing field for everyone. And not that everyone has to then start making different regulations, and then you find that, you know, in different parts of the world, things are going and pulling in different directions. So yeah, that's something that might be worth exploring, and I'll try and see how, in a small way, I can move it along. I see Mr. Sehdev hasn't jumped in. Maybe I can ask you a question or so. You have told us about some of the services your company provides for creating a commercial proposition relevant to the outputs that emerge from the anticipated or projected centers of excellence.
Right.
Is there anything that strikes you now that you would like to add on as a point that Hydrogenium would like to project? Since you have...
Actually, to be very frank, you have taken a very valid question rather, which is called Hydrogen Alliance, Global Alliance. Actually, this is a very natural progression. You cannot go without it, because the whole ecosystem, global ecosystem of hydrogen, have to be aligned together to create a possibility where you can have a price parity with the fossil fuel based energy. To create that, there is a demand side and a supply side situation which has to be met, and everybody doesn't have all the wherewithal to actually, you know, achieve the whole environment into one go. So they will have to have an alliances. That's, you know, global alliance. I mean, like solar alliance, it reduce your, you know, like tariff and the capital cost from $2 million per megawatt at one time to almost $0.8 million. So it's, you know, like 70% chip off from the cost. That is also going to be, you know, like relevant when you are making hydrogen alliances or global alliance of hydrogen. That will be a natural progression as the development takes place, price factor comes down, and people are more getting aware to this usage. This will become an automatic affair. Have to be.
Thank you. I like the way you described it as a natural progression.
Yeah.
Indeed, it's a progression that can start right away. I don't think we need to wait. Like private companies, I have seen there is a global hydrogen alliance that exists, but not among states. It would be good if states which are deeply interested, and I see Norway and India as kind of logical partners in this, took some steps and tried to move this ahead, especially with COP26, you know, just a little over 2 months away in Glasgow. This would be another worthwhile initiative that could be projected and may not be premature. I think it may just be very timely. Christian, you've asked for the floor. Please go ahead.
Yes. Again, a follow-up on the Hydrogen Alliance. I think that with the expected energy demand that we will have in the future, I think that there will be a market for everyone. So that is also kind of a point sparked from Ms. Aamott's point on a non-competitive alliance, right? So I think that we, in that sense, have a lot to learn from the research community and academia that have this culture of sharing. The importance of achieving a hydrogen economy is so huge that I think that should be a place to start. And if we look at the clusters around the world, the best ones are the ones that are, let's see, the most transparent. That creates innovation, that creates alliances. So I think that should be one of the principles of such an alliance. So, and well, you know, Norway, we are a very open economy. We have a culture of sharing. So I think that that could be a good start to explore this between Norway and India. But of course, that will be up to my government to decide.
Likewise, it would be for my government to decide, but I think we can make the suggestion. It seems, as you said, there's also a very important cultural affinity up there in the way that our two countries function and operate. And so I see that we have come to the end of the time frame given to me. So I would like to thank, let me close this session by sincerely thanking each of my distinguished speakers for sharing their insights with us. I think we got one or two important new insights, including on those MSc courses, which I will follow up, and on this idea of having an international hydrogen alliance, interstate one, as different from the existing ones, which may be there between companies and groups of organizations or research institutes. And a lot of very good points that I have heard. In fact, I'll have to sit down and put this all in my diary before I forget. And I wonder if some of you could share with us those presentations. I would really appreciate it. I'll send you a message as a follow-up, just just to remind. But I think they would be worth keeping on the record. So thank you to everyone. It has been an honor for me to share this session and to pick up your views and to share them around. And I do hope we could, in a small way, help move this hydrogen ecosystem idea forward, involving all stakeholders in a multidisciplinary way. Thank you, everyone. And with that, I bring the fourth session of the International Climate Summit 2021 to a close. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.